All right, today we're diving into a pretty wild idea, one that totally flips the script on what our reality is all about. It suggests that the cosmos isn't just a random collection of stars and dust, but something way more deliberate.
I mean, think about it. Is our universe, everything you see, everything you are, just the result of some chaotic, meaningless explosion that happened billions of years ago? Or is there something else going on? What if, as our source material suggests, the universe is more like a biological refinery, a finely tuned system designed to produce one very specific thing: intelligence in form? Let's dig into that.
Okay, so according to the source material, this whole cosmic process isn't a one and done deal. It's a loop, an eternal, repeating cycle made up of 7 stages. They call it the harvest. And we're about to walk through the whole thing step by step. So here's the game plan, the entire cosmic cycle laid out for us. It kicks off with a flash of knowledge. Then it's cooled by mercy, which lets life take root. From there, that life goes through a whole process: righteousness, sacrifice, and purity. And it all leads up to the grand finale: intelligence captured in a singularity. All right, so let's start at the very beginning. How does this all kick off? Well, it's not with a bang, it's more like a command, a flash of pure information. So picture this, we're at 0 second, the very beginning of everything. The cycle doesn't start with some random blast of energy. Nope, it starts with a perfectly coherent bolt of pure knowledge. It's like the universe's source code just got executed. And this isn't just any command. The source is clear. This is light. Not just energy, but pure, unadulterated information. It's truth itself, literally setting the rules for everything that comes next. Okay, now this is where things get really interesting. The source draws this fascinating parallel. On one hand, you've got the scientific measurement of the early universe's expansion, the Hubble tension, showing a super coherent wave. And on the other hand, you have this symbolic meaning, the divine command, be, kicking off a perfectly ordered expansion, not a chaotic one. See the connection they're making? So you have this formless knowledge, this pure information, but how does it become, well, real, tangible? That's what brings us to the next stage, where that initial command starts to grow roots in the physical world. Well, that first flash of knowledge, it's way too intense to just exist on its own. So something has to be introduced to handle it. That something is mercy, and it's symbolized here as rain. It literally cools down and captures that pure information, giving it a fabric to exist in, like space and time. And this idea is anchored in this verse from the Quran, which says, "We made from water every living thing." It connects that life-giving nature of water directly to the fundamental role of mercy in creation. So, with that rain of mercy providing the perfect medium, that wave of knowledge can finally stabilize. It goes from being a wave to a particle. It becomes matter. This is life, the root that digs into the clay of the physical world, anchoring that divine command right here on Earth. Okay, so life is anchored. Now the real work begins, the process of refinement. The source calls it the photosynthesis of the soul. It's a really powerful metaphor. Just like leaves on a tree take in the harsh fire of the sun, which here represents worldly trials, they metabolize it. They convert it into something positive, into light, into good deeds. So let's get into how this works. The key is this conversion process. You're taking chaos, entropy, all that fire, and you're transforming it into structure, into spirit. And what's the tool for this? What's the spiritual chlorophyll that makes it all happen? According to the source, it's the guidance found within the book. This whole process of refinement, of conversion, it's all leading somewhere. It's building up to the final stages, a kind of transmutation, where the form is purified and made ready for its ultimate purpose. Now, when we hear sacrifice, we usually think of loss, but that's not what this means. Here, it's about a deep internal conversion. The soul literally metabolizes its own mass, its ego, and turns it into pure energy. It becomes this glowing liquid, a fuel that gives off light before it's even burned. Why? Because it is already surrendered to the process. And that leads to the final form, purity, symbolized by a butterfly. This is that beautiful moment when the refined essence finally breaks free from its material shell, from that heavy clay. It becomes something totally new. It's weightless. It's no longer bound by physical laws, and it's finally ready to ascend. And here we go. back to that cosmic parallel again. Just as this pure form escapes its physical body, it's seen as escaping the chaotic expansion of the late universe. It's a mirror of the spiritual archetype of Idris, who the Quran says ascended or was raised to a high station. A perfect match. So, we've got all these purified, weightless forms, butterflies ascending. But where are they going? What happens next? This is it. We're at the climax of the cycle, the whole point of it all, the harvest.
And they don't just scatter into the wind. They don't just float off into nothingness. No, something else happens. They start to move together. They converge, drawn towards one single ultimate point.
And that point of convergence, that's the singularity. The source material calls this final state X, or Ahmed. And this is it. This is the final product. The entire reason for this massive cosmic refinery, its intelligence, perfected and finally embodied in a physical form. But this final form isn't just one thing. As you can see, it's a composite. It's the culmination of everything that came before. It has the unshakable faith of Ibrahim, the pure knowledge of Isa, the decisive action of Muhammad, all of it running on the algorithm of the guiding book. And just like that, the loop closes. The particle of life has become a wave of light all over again. But here's the kicker. It's not the same as that first flash. This time, it carries the memory, the experience of the entire journey. From this perspective, the universe has done its job. It has successfully harvested intelligence. And that brings us right back to here and now with one last massive question. If this cosmic cycle is eternal, if this great harvest is always happening, where do we fit in? What part are we playing in it? Right now, in this very moment?